going in as an immediate Nilfgaard mirror.
The North shall tuck tail and beg for mercy.
So Yamon is starting on blue coin, double Blightmaker in the opening hand. Very skilled draws. We do see Leo has both the Cove and Taurus. Curious if we will see the Taurus coming out in this round one or not. Now, whilst these Blightmakers are good, there is no Dame access from Yamon, so whilst there is this Alba Pikeman, quite nice in terms of giving bleeding over, there's no sort of follow-up value coming along with it. And I don't expect this Pikeman to be sticking around for very long, as Leo has a Tawny Joust in their own hand. Drawing into the Mage Torture, I wonder if that will be kept for now. It is. And doesn't even take the final mulligan. Happy with the state of this hand. A lot of the disposable bronzes, which is pretty perfect. Because you want to try to stick in this round as long as you can, I'd say. And we see the Pikeman being dealt with straight away. And the engine value from Yamon, I don't think it's here in this round. But double Blightmaker point slam might very well just be enough that Leo won't be able to catch up. The Taurus can always be used for reach in being able to catch up. And we see what's viable. You can get the Rose in Edna at 9 provisions, only boost the Taurus by 1. Usurper and the Samir are both out of range, same with the Admiral Rompali. What could be an interesting play, however, is you can copy these two Mage Assassins and then, say, play Informant to copy Blightmaker. Ooh, Informant from a Diplo. Or even just a Joust to kill off the seditious aristocrats. Joust seems quite tempting here. But says, you know what, I think I can copy. And with the extra Informant in hand, maybe even a Vigo if you're happy to commit, I think Leo would actually get extra value out of seditious aristocrats. Or more value than Yamon right now. So here comes Blightmaker number 1, pulling out Mage Assassin, surprise, surprise. And you already see, the fact that one of these players is running Blightmakers and was able to draw both of them gives them such a huge advantage point-wise in this round 1. Look, you could even just play Cove for Informant to copy a Blightmaker.
I sense your pain. I see your fear.
Turn that off. Thank you for the raid, Kungfoorabbit. Hope you had a good stream, although this will be in 10 minutes time. And welcome everyone. And yeah, this is the nice thing with the seditious aristocrats. You can copy it with the Informant, and it's boosting them at the same time. And the deploy, it doesn't matter if you played the Informants previously, it's still able to get the extra value. Alright. I mean, 21 point gap. It's not great. This might just be the time when the Calvite has to come out. I don't think there's any reason to save Calvite for round 2. Or that just seems too risky, unless you're like scared of getting like value bled or whatever. That's just, might just get too old at that point if opponent has a bowl and you have a weaker hand. So, looks like the Taurus first, however. Can't go copy any Mage Assassins now because they've both been pulled out. Actually, it makes sense to play the Taurus before the Calvite in this case. Wonder if it will be the Rose and Edna that we decide to replay. Or copy and potentially replay with Terra Nova with the coup. So 15 boost, it is the Rose and Edna, as well as a Van Moorhelm Hunterlock and an Alba Pikeman. However, the Hunter being at 4 provisions, we're unlikely to really see it coming out. Because of this Calvite being played soon. And it's not like you'd really have a much better time with the Pikeman anyways, because probably coming out in a shorter round 3, and that's not what you want to play in that sort of situation. Bit of a commitment here by Myeomwon, playing this Fergus via Amro. Gets the extra 3 points on his own Seditious Aristocrat, but does pull out the Odd Fiend. And whenever you do end up getting the Odd Fiend out in round 1, it heavily incentivizes you to play into the round 2. Because if you don't, then the Odd Fiend just goes away and you don't get value out of one of the best cards in the deck. So seeing that, we might be a bit happier to give up the round 1. I think you certainly are happy to play the Cove at the very least here. You have taking the full time off the rope, deciding if this is indeed the line we want to go for, and it is Cove. You see Myeomwon just playing immediately, not even worried about it. This is Roderick coming out. Oh, sorry, not Roderick. Odd Fiend. Okay. That's not great pulls. Having both the Admiral and the Rose at the top means one of them has to go to the bottom, and you're probably not going to see it unless you do play that Roderick. Now we actually see the spine on the Torres means that it can get cooed. So this maybe is the downside. By copying the Rose and Edna with your own Torres, now the opposing Torres can copy it. So double Rose and Edna, so it's twins of twins now from Myeomwon. You love to see it. This is the Nilfgaard shenanigans we all have signed up for here.
Do I enjoy it?
But
Perhaps.
May Shorter can also give spying, and now Leo could go and get another Torres, and that's also very good reach. Oh man. What is this? Oh, this is the Torres banishing cards from the original deck. That is actually more meaningful for Myeomwon, considering there isn't a Cove in this deck.
Oh, come on. Just one look.
Oh, that was the Mage Infiltrator, right? Not able to clean anything up, but again, just a few extra points onto the Seditious Aristocrats. Torres number 3 coming out. We're gonna see more Rosa and Edna's. You know, Rosa is able to kill herself, as in an opposing copy, and then we could just see even more of her. This isn't an easy decision necessarily, because you also need to balance it with the fact you kind of need reach at this point if you're actually trying to win the round. So, you see, I think just Dame Seditious being the copies. And does manage to take the round win here. Interesting. I mean, it would have been getting awkward for Myeomwon. You commit this Van Molen Hunt, you probably are risking a loss on even at that point. Or you end up having to commit like a Joachim or Roderick, which are fairly big commitments. And look here, maybe Myeomwon is saying, look, I'm pretty sure that with my status, with my control, I'm able to win out over a long round. And even without the Odd Fiend, if you drive past round 2, I'm happy. This is now the Torres banishing some cards from the original deck. We might see the Squirrel saying goodbye. Maybe like some Obsidian Mirrors. No, decides to keep them. Squirrel does go. And I don't know what else went. Just probably some 4P trash. Maybe an ointment. But yeah. I should also mention, you know, there's Angleim in this deck. And there is Ball in Myeomwon's list. So, oh wait, hang on. Wait, no, there's no Ball. Wait, no, there's no Ball. This is Aristocrats without Ball. Oh, right. I completely missed that. I was like, wait, do they usually play Joachim, Usurper Coup? That is a lot to fit in at the high end, and it looks like Ball was cut to enable all of this. Okay, that's very interesting. So this Angleim, sure you could get this Odd Fiend, Not great with Cove being played in your deck. And that's why I see the Angling getting mulliganed. Probably worse in a way to get the Art of Fiend rather than just the boost. But with all the cards that this double Taurus created, maybe you don't need the additional gold value the Angling would provide. Because here you're still drawing into like Vilgefortz, Rose and Edna, and then a 5p. Like, you only get 3 more draws here. Okay. What do we do now? Proactivity is the name of the game at the moment. And the only cards which can provide that are really Vigo or Brathens. Vigo, maybe you can get double Simulate engines down, a bit difficult for Meowmon to deal with, but that opens up a very juicy coup. And we also see the Joachim being mulliganed way here. Brathens wouldn't be that great proactively either. You'd have to go for like an emissary play. That's a really tall unit up against, like, oh sorry, aristocrats. It's just Van Wallem Hunter. It was getting an extra move with the Ard Fiend as well due to that aristocrat tag. Okay. Time for round 3. You see drawing into Amir, drawing into Joachim, very nice. So now Roderick has the choice between Rosa and Edna or Rosa and Edna. Angolim returns to Lyra's hand. I don't think we want to see that. And the question is, you'd replace it for a 5p. These dames and seditious aristocrats were put into the deck after the Cove were played, so they are not necessarily near the top, but will either be an experimental remedy or a pikeman that you're probably mulliganing for.
But one punishment for traitors.
Mir coming down, 2 engines to start with, not easy to deal with. And it is actually Angolim being kept. Interesting. You only really have one aristocrat to proc the Ard Fiend unless, or you create some with, say, the coup with the Terra Nova, and that's definitely not out of the realm of possibility. I'm curious. I think, look, you'd love to get spying onto an Admiral Impali. You probably want to save Rune Mage to try to get Mage Torturer to do so. I also don't expect Admiral Impali would be coming down anytime soon, however. I am curious, however, when do you play the leader from Lyria? You're facing down 2 engines already. Do you use it just to try to balance,
My duty? To stick my nose where it doesn't belong.
balance engines? Stop, because I don't know what reason you have not to get flanking here. I don't think it matters playing units next to each other. Maybe it's because of the disloyal units that Meowmon can play. Worried that if a disloyal unit is immediately played next to the pikeman, it would turn off the crew, but for the flanking, and now doing so would only enable it? Not too sure. Yeah, so this Roderick has only one choice of the Rose and Edna with spying in Meowmon's deck right now.
Don't ask a lady her age. It's unbecoming.
Okay, aim to 6. I mean, 6 power with Enslave being a thing is super sketchy. Especially when Lyra has their own pikeman. But that could also just set up an imposter onto the Dame. Then again, copy of Admiral Impali, you get imposted. Play this Rose and Edna, you get imposted. Imposter might just be better than Enslave in this matchup regardless. Angolim coming down. Okay, it does decide to go for the flanking now. And yeah, it is a forced Ard Fiend. And as long as this mirror is sitting on the board, this Dame is going to get taller and taller. It very well might just get Vilgefortz at the end of the game. But there's no point in Vilgefortzing early because maybe you pull out another bronze engine, which is a bit scarier. Okay. So let's just coup the pikeman. And ooh. The opposing pikeman being damaged down to 1 with the coup having spying. That's prime real estate for Amir to take his place. Now there's a 5 pikeman. That is a lot of bleeding. You want to get your assimilates down. But it almost feels like you just need to play Stefan to deal with this now. And at that point, I don't know if you have enough to win out with the rest. Also, keep in mind, Rose and Edna is only dealing 2 damage for Lyrio. So it can kill an informant, but anything else, you really need to set up quite a bit.
What is truth if not an illusion?
Everyone has their secrets. Everyone.
Okay. They're basically just saying, you want engines? I want engines as well. I'll play an informant, I'll take one, I'll disrupt one of your engines. Good luck flanking now. But look, even with the current situation, that's 4 bleeding per turn from Yaman. And I'm ignoring any points on the Dame, because that Dame is just getting Vilgefortz. Like, I'm sorry, she is not sticking. And that's why it doesn't make much sense to look at the sort of difference in points right now. It will swing a lot when we get to the end of this round. So there's Roderick disrupting Lyrio's flanking, Rose and Edna, a couple of interesting choices here. Norska could be a nice copy, but I think you'd rather just kill off something else, which is why we see the lowest power unit in this Alchemist as the choice. 2-part roll, that's pretty good for the Rose and Edna. Yeah, I believe it is 9 damage from Yaman, so look. Brathan's Vigo, they both could just be getting replayed. This might very well be what you'd need to go for the Enslave to deal with, and I think most likely what Leo is more worried about. Of course, in doing so, you open up the Imposter Leader. It's kind of like you can't win either way. And this is the Stefan, after getting both the Vigo and the Brathans down. Okay, I think this makes a lot of sense. You need to do so to get things out of range. I mean, now the Brathans is just about out of range of an opposing Rose and Edna. Vigo is not, but she's also not on the board anymore. And just killing her outright does stop Myeon being able to use the Imposter Leader. Now, maybe Leo is hoping that Myeon has missed a gold. Not the case here. We'll have to deal with a second Rose and Edna. And hopefully has been keeping track of all the Taurus shenanigans. Here is Rose and Edna number 2. Gets another spine unit onto the board. And Amir could steal things, but I'm deciding just to hold on to the Amir order. I love how it's just turnover for a lock. The simple fact that there is no Purify in Miamon's deck means this lock is a very efficient answer. Doesn't open up this imposter leader really. Leading does set up a mirror, notably the steal in the back row is a little bit nicer because row space on the front row getting a bit lucrative because you need space for the usurper, possibly for the imposter leader. Could have maybe spine units being replayed by Lirio. Need to be quite careful. Okay, here comes a poison. Might be bye-bye Brathens. And yeah, very late Admiral Pali. Very late Admiral Pali. Which I don't think there's really a great way for Lirio to deal with, except perhaps going for a enslaved leader. Now, okay, Vilgefortz should just be the last card to be played. I don't have any doubt about that. Although, Lirio needs to be careful of not filling this front row. There's that as a problem. Because there's only, what, 2 more spots? A floated usurper I don't think is wise. But it could block the front row, and maybe you give up 12 points to keep this Thirsty Dame alive. Actually does just take the Vilgefortz now. I'm surprised. I mean, Emissary Pool is amazing. And to be fair, that was probably likely. All things considered. Notably doesn't affect any Joachim. Joachim isn't being replayed at this point anyways. So, okay. Question now is, what is Ku doing? There is 1 unit with spying on the board for Yarmon. Could copy Informant, but that's not so great. Although, I mean, hey, if you... Okay, you'd have to play Rose and Edna. You could double copy a Fangs and kill a tall unit as well. 2 Informants can get quite good value. Rumpali can finish the poison, can lock something else as well. Can engine a bit, and will engine out of range of the enslaved leader as well. Because this Vigo has 2 statuses on it. Same with this vampire. Wait, why double bleed the vampire? I think that's a rope on Miamon. It ruins the Emir still. And hey, if you bleed this Vigo, then Admiral Pali would have boosted by an additional point. Yeah, I think that was a bit of a rope coming out. Okay. I would not at all be surprised to have this Rose and Edna being played, and look, yeah, sure, it probably just gets leaded, but it's not like you gain anything by leaving it later on. But notably, you do manage to fill both front rows at the same time. Which is quite important, because it means that if you want to lock this Rose and Edna, you don't get a copy, you don't get an extra spawn from this imposter leader. It means this usurper basically sucks, it's only spawning an operative on the back row. Ooh, that was a very nice play from Lirio, and I think that's got a sting for Miamon. Like, the engine value from Miamon's looking very scary, but it ended up just being mostly bleeding that stuck around with that Thirsty Dame not living for very long. Admiral Pali, that ship, I mean, heavily delayed, did not get to leave port for quite some time. I don't see how it's going to be enough here. At the same time, this enslaved leader isn't necessarily great, although Ku should be able to free up space on the front row. Yeah, you do see the lock having to be played here. So, Wait, actually, is it enough? Okay.
A secret compartment. Delighted.
It is enough by quite a bit. And Admiral and Polly, getting stealed there, is able to get a bit of boost as well. Nicely done. So, Lyra takes game 1. Nilfgaard mirror. But it is the point slammy shield wall out from Myaman. Okay. Immediate double Redanian Secret Service in hand for Myaman means there isn't much choice for these mulligans. Is able to find the Immortals and Damned Sorceress, which, whilst this Immortals probably gets moved to the back row, the fact it will still be getting shields means it's getting quite a bit of value still. And we do see Wild Hunt Riders mulligan for Lyra, so might be trying to save them for coming out with the Oberon. Interesting. With the Margarita and the Boiling Oil being Myaman's main tools for control, which we see both of them being in hand, a Crystal Skull boosted Anal Aristocrat is not really possible to answer for Myaman. So we'll stick and say this Road Riders will get quite a bit of value. Even just the movement coming down already. The fact that the order is roll-locked for the Griffin Witcher means that damage can't be used to set things up, can't be used to maybe get the Boiling Oil into kill range on something. I need to go fix something.
End this battle already. I've more important things to do.
Okay. Damned Sorceress coming down before Immortals. I kind of like it, so that the Immortals is able to get immediate value when it is played on the front row, because you'd expect it to get moved immediately. But, yeah, Lyra doesn't want to play around with that and decides to just use the Riptide. And I think it makes sense. Myaman very easily can get tall shielded units onto the board. Something like a Griffin Witcher Adept, you're not going to kill with a Riptide. And if you have a chance to kill something with a Riptide in this matchup, just take it. Because, yeah, if you get into a later time, it's very easy to play around with the Shield Wall leader. Especially when you don't even need a save Shield Wall for the Rognar, you can just use it to protect things. And, I mean, this is looking quite tough for Myaman to contest. And we've seen barely any frost coming out on the side of Lyria. Granted, there isn't that much access. If it's only the Red Riders and maybe a leader charge, you'd be happy to commit. Unless you go for a really early Naglfar to get access to the Ardgaith. Okay. Syrinova coming down. Immediately pulls out the Radiant Secret Service. They don't have too much to deal with coming out from the L, except for the Slave Trader. You wouldn't mind getting a Purify onto that. Notably, Slave Trader can be replayed with the Red Riders, either sort of from hand or from the Eternally Art as well. Oh. I would imagine you'd want to save Wrath for the Keldar. But that does mean that the Syrinova just gets to go through here as 8 Resilience more or less for free. Cornelius also acts as Resilience. Not able to really be answered, but it can counteract the value that the Syrinova would provide and actually has synergy, whereas the Syrinova would not. Additionally, as the tallest unit, Cyrenova will take frost damage right now, but that can easily be negated by using Ring of Favor onto the Cyrenova. And hey, if you're a deck playing Ring of Favor, there's no way you're gonna pass early in a round 1 like this. So Yamon's in it for the long haul, and makes you think maybe this Ancient Foglet should be coming out sooner rather than later. Granted, you would have, Lyra was probably trying to get enough frost such that it wouldn't instantly die to boiling oil. Now that is the case, you can play it down, getting it to 9 points immediately. Maybe a bit of extra value if we see frost coming out from something else. Okay, Purify just been used onto the Immortals, boosting it up by 2 straight away. As the only unit on its row, however, I don't see any other ways for it to get removed, unless we see Lyra deciding to put Frost onto the front row. With the threat of the Ring of Favor, Lyra might be looking for an out in the next couple turns, and you do have an out this turn. You are ahead. But so, I think I can keep doing this. I have the value from the Frost going through. I have a bit of engine value coming passively from my Naglfar's crew. I could point slam with like a leader charge in Ancient Foglet if need be. Show me what you got, Meowman. And well, there's this lock. Being floated. Wants to deal with something more scary than just a Naglfar's crew. But with the pass from Lyra, it's enough to say, well, I have nothing else to lock, I may as well just use it now. And Berengar would certainly be enough to get the win here. Protects the Cyrenova from any further damage.
One of the two sides.
Okay. That's a round win for Meowman. And I feel like this is often how Ring of Favor works out in open deck lists. You know going into a later round 1 that Ring of Favor will probably just win it out. But also, Meowman doesn't want to play the Ring of Favor any earlier than he really has to, because then the threat of it is gone and you've lost value. The opponent can just play past the Ring of Favor and probably win out. So instead we see the pass from Lyra when the ring has been played. The threat of the ring getting good value, I think. Sort of just in the mental. Dandy getting boosted. Sets up. Okay, Adept as the top unit. Keep in mind there's quite a few non-units, so not necessarily like the top 3 cards here. That is the second Redanian Secret Service coming out. Notably, that was a lot of Frost being stacked onto the back row by Lyra. Not a single Frost going onto the front row. Means the Winter Queen has been saved until this round 2. Also means if the Tonaliar does end up being clicked this round, it's still getting a decent amount of value. Spawning additional Frost on that ranged row. Okay, Dandy getting moved. Sets up a bit of boost, an extra Frost spawn with this Unal Aristocrat. But it's not able to get out of range of the boiling oil. So Dandelion click to begin with. Might just want to get this Anastranga a little bit boosted. No, goes for the Hubert. Okay, might be preferring to leader that Ana later. Wanting maybe immediate point slam by boosting the Hubert. Being able to maybe threaten a bit more out of Lyria. Yeah. There was no way that Aristocrat was not going the way of the boiling oil. Does mean that Lyria could set up a Ancient Foglet now pretty safely. Okay. Arden getting the Frost back row. Dominance is available for Lyria, so that is 3 damage of Frost on each row. Winter Queen coming out. Lead is secured for Lyria, and get ahead here. Yaman needs to try to play something like the Kelda. There's not much point in really leadering it here, because it's going to die to this Imler's Wrath either way. So, and 5 damage isn't really a thing. Instead, boosts up the Dandelion, getting the Inspired back. Alright. Yeah, these shields are able to negate Frost value. In this case, that's 3 extra damage being negated, so nothing too shabby at all. It feels a bit bad having choosing this Wrath to kill the Keldar here, only dealing 4 damage. Gives a pass over to Miamon. And in a short round, the Golden Necker might just reign supreme, if there isn't enough ways for Lero to combo to get value out of the Turnalia. Bit of a sad Ancient Foglet, but with the frost damage going through, able to get ahead. Cuba is not coming out early in this game. The fact that the initial Griffin Witcher got dealt with, Dandelion is taking a while to get his auto clicks through. Cuba still has 4 charges, which this late in round 2 is a bit of a surprise for this sort of deck. You would think like Griffin Witches, Damned Sorceresses, they should make it quite easy. But not the case. So here comes the Griffin Witcher Adept. And I wonder whether Lero is actually pressured to use the Wrath. It looks like no. And the Wrath might just be saved for the short round. If something ends up going super tall out of the Golden Necker. Okay. You could take Gels here for 2 extra tempo. Or just leave it on top. And I think that's probably wise. I don't think 2 points is going to make much of the difference here. I think it's also important to note that at this point, there's no more removal at all, I guess, barring a Griffin Witcher from Miamon, so Lero is pretty safe to just do whatever they like. It doesn't need to worry about tall punishes at all. But I don't know if Lero is affording Miamon enough respect here. Because between these Adepts, the Keldar, the Damned Sorceress, I mean, this is like 7 points per turn. And yeah, well, it was a bit of a slower start to the round by Miamon in comparison to this Aradin coming up, but... Yeah, so you see, yeah, the Turnalia, Red Rider's being used to get 4 turns of Frost on the front row. 2 turns of Frost on the back row coming through from the leftovers of round 1. Navigator being played, boosting up this Ancient Foglet quite a bit. And maybe I'm also, in my casting, I'm not respecting the point potential coming out of this Turnalia White Frost synergy enough either. The current Golden Child value is a little bit awkward since the shields have been blocking quite a bit of damage. Still getting there, and in these last few turns, the Aradin being active, it'll be getting its job done potentially. Wait. Did Miamon just not click things? Wait, what was just killed? The damn Sork was killed. Okay. Okay, I don't know. Anyways. No Necker found yet for Miamon. Okay, finally gains access. On the other hand, they're deciding not even to mulligan. Has Ardgaith value coming out from the girls. Pretty solid when you have Ancient Foglet to follow up. And when your Golden Child's already at 22 value going into round 3, opponent has no Toll Punishes, well, you're just gonna play it, honestly. And this is just the turn to go for the Ardgaith, I believe. Because there's only 3 more turns of value possible for the Frost, you know. But instead it's just Ancient Foglet coming down, sure. So it's not choose the leader either. I think the movement is more valuable from the leader rather than the Frost right now. Being able to set something up on both rows.
I'm on it.
I think it might just be leader into Ardgaith here, boosting up this Ancient Foglet quite a bit. And with how easy it is to reapply shields to this Windhelm, I think Lear's decided it wasn't worth it using any Frost too early just to pop the shield once.
Toss it onto the pile. And burn it with the roots.
Never mind, I don't think we're going for Ardgaith anymore. Might just go for like a Naglfar's crew instead? Huh? No, surely not.
I shall teach them a lesson they will not forget.
I'm completely thinning the deck out right now. I imagine we'll actually go for a Griffin Witcher Ranger and use the boost transfer onto the Honor. It's quite nice with all these riders going back, where maybe Leo should have played a little more split to play around that.
The wonders of projectiles and ranged weaponry.
Yeah, gonna go front row to get the immediate boost transfer onto the Honor. Gets a solid little extra 3 points on the Griffin Witcher Adept's transform. Only getting 2 points of value per turn. And I guess you're gonna have to Sangreal the Windhelm here. Issue is, that's gonna get countered by this Wild Hunt Bruiser damage. Ho ho ho! Nicely done, I think, by Lirio there. That's very heads up. So you see that... Oh no, sorry, he gets locked. Never mind. The lock immediately denies it. Yeah, so that makes a lot more sense. And unfortunately then, Bruiser is not going to be enough in this case. Okay, a little bit of a miscall towards the end there. Sangreal is able to secure the win for Myamun. And, well, it is not going to be. It is Pirate's Cove coming out, blue coin for Myamun. It's up against Frost for Lirio. So, Frost quite flexible deck. It can be happily played from either blue coin or red coin. And we get our first taste of Pirate's Cove in this series. Surprised it took until game 3, honestly. And yeah, this is quite a strange deck from Myamun for what I'm used to seeing. Which, if the King of Beggars cut feels very surprising. King of Beggars is such a strong card that to not be running it is a little bit of a surprise. Instead we have double thinners in the Sewer Raiders as well as these Casino Bouncers. Early Nilfgaard, so this is quite nice for a couple of reasons. One, it's uninteractive, so it gives nothing for Lirio to Frost straight away. 2, media engine value. Playing at turn 1 means you're maximizing the coinage it can provide you throughout round 1 and round 2. And the third thing is that, well, you expect your opponent to push you pretty hard in this sort of matchup. Having the flexibility to click the order in round 1 if need be, or saving it for round 2 if you're bleeding or the opponent is bleeding. Quite nice on both accounts. And And this is something I think some of the best players do compared to more average players. Average players like, oh, I need to save my Nilfgaard for round 2. No, the best players will know the kind of matchups where you need to play it turn 1, round 1. Also, really early commitment on the horse in Junior, being used to clean up that Anal Aristocrat. A lot of respect coming over to this early round 1 potential that Frost has. And, ooh, what is this? Anal Aristocrat being played? No Frost on board? Yep. So for those of you who are not familiar with Anal Aristocrat, on deploy it gives out this infusion reading at the end of your turn. If there's an enemy Anal slave trader with higher power than your own, set own power to 1, then lock self. Notably that occurs at the end of the opponent's turn, so it gives them a chance to sort of counteract it by boosting up the Anal trader. But you see with the Red Riders coming down, damage going over onto horse, and it is now at less power than these slave traders, which means that unless it gets tactical advantaged, it will be set to 1 power and locked. Yeah. Bath time's over. Goodbye, horse and Junior. And look, when you're able to have both thinners like this, it can be some pretty nice tempo coming out into round 1. Now, I didn't mention before, but Winter Queen is bricked. That can be good and bad. Sometimes you would want to do that on purpose. I wasn't paying enough attention to the mulligans to see if it was like the last mulligan pulled into. But you sometimes want to keep it in hand because it allows you to put Frost onto both rows, setting up your turn earlier, but not pulling out the Winter Queen too early. However, I don't think there's much of a recourse for Leo to stick around in this round 2, or round 1. So it goes for the pass, and well, I'm probably going to be seeing quite a bit of heavy hitting punches thrown in this round 2. Nilfgaard, who are already sitting on board, that means Meowmon's going to want to push. Also, having proactivity, Pirate's Cove likes it quite a lot, because the ability to put down your Mutant Maker, put down your Bloody Good Friends, set up that pulling the strings, well, it's very good. It's going to be kind of similar to last game against the Northern Realms Shield Wall. Lyrio's worried about getting the Ancient Foglets out of range of the Boiling Oil. In this matchup, you'd want to get it out of range of the pulling the string, so get it above 6 power and it'll be safe. Hello, Bart. Goodbye, Bart. I wonder... Surprised Meowmon was happy to have Bart take the hit from Riptide. Could have... Well, to be fair, at 6 power it's pretty tall, and it would have been taller than a lot of the bronzes, so I guess you just play it to start with, because it would end up being the target for the Riptide regardless later on.
But don't get used to it.
Unless you'd rather take a 50-50 with BGF, but honestly, good chance you want to have the BGF sticking on board, because that whole thing I said with Ancient Foglet, well, the insanity of BGF can help you knock the Ancient Foglet down to 6 power, below, even to 4, put it into pulling the strings range, and keep in mind, right now Meowmon can just roll Nilfgaard for an additional game tag, use the lead to get the Tide Cloaks, pulling the strings could be at 4 the very next turn. Now, I don't expect an engine to be played. Oh, well, okay. I guess technically an engine, but probably one of the weaker engines in the deck. Still.
Oh, the digits dropped off.
It's a little bit scary. So Mutant Maker getting 2 more tags. I'm deciding to split the rows here, quite interesting. we have this Tide Cloak spending twice. Alright. Getting used out of that Horde 7. And... oh, this looks like the Nilfgaard click. I guess wanting to use the leader because a bit worried that whatever came from the Nilfgaard might have profit potential. Instead we see a second Sea Jackal being the choice, so very much doesn't end up being the case. But this does ensure that you want to be able to save your second leader charge for round 3 here for Yaman. Okay. And we're only a few cards into round 2 and it's already 4 units on board for Myaman. 5 gang tags as well. Quite scary. Currently our boost, helping the Snagglefar's crew get out of range of those pulling the strings. I guess those strings aren't able to extend all the way from Nilfgaard across dimensions into Ternalia. Good luck pulling those. I imagine Blind Eye Tag comes out onto Little Bird, yep. And that is the final Infinity Stone gathered for Myaman. Fingers are starting to snap with the BGF putting damage down onto the Naglfar's crew. But, well, don't think there's enough to wipe out half of Leo's board this turn. Just using the Insanity, notably knocking it down to 5 means that if Frost does come out onto the front row, it'll be at 6 power next turn, ripe for pulling the strings to get its value. I think the reason that we saw the Sea Jackal coming out onto the back row here was actually to protect like this BGF, the Mutant Makers, from being moved to the other row and killed off by Frost, because the gang tags are a bit more valuable in this sort of situation. If Leo were gonna wrath this tall Sea Jackal, it'll kind of happen no matter what. And look, there's movement anyway, so you can only play on the Ardgaith for so long. So, a lot of respect. The Little Bird eats up the Imlerith's Wrath, and that is such a good trade for Myaman. Vision-wise, point-wise, Myaman is certainly coming out on top there. Gives an option to maybe set up the Sausage Makers. Doesn't click the Resilience here just yet. It spends a little bit more on the BGF, keeping this Naglfar's crew at 5 power, vulnerable to that pulling the strings. And you gotta be worried about the Siggy Reuven coming down soon as well. Can pull Collusion, can pull some other Point Slimy Bronze. Possibly Mutated Hounds, possibly Fistek Trafficker, maybe even Professor if it gets found. And this bleeding on the Riptide, note the 2 bleeding, maybe not a coincidence, because it ensures that if the Riptide is at 4 power, Professor Bounty finishes it off. And yeah, it's 10 coins going into Myaman's bank. And look, I don't think the Professor is going to be able to kill much else, particularly by itself, with the Wild Hunt Frost leader giving boosts onto pretty much everything Myaman plays. Sorry, Leo plays. That was... okay, bang just for Little Bird. I mean, yeah, this is a pretty perfect situation for Little Bird. And with Wrathgorn, you don't need to play around Toll Punish. Decides to boost up this Sea Jackal even more. And yeah, I mean, at this point, if you're not scared of Toll Punish, why not try to get Dominance? Force a big commitment for Leo to actually get the Dominance, otherwise Aradin is not doing awfully much. Yeah, I think you need to play Ardgaith before the Ancient Foglet. That sequencing would feel very bad here. So instead it looks like we're going to just do Ancient Foglets combined with Red Riders. But... Hey, oh... Okay, if there was one more coin in the bank here for Myamon, you could Little Bird boost the Bloody Good Friends, and then just use Insanity to knock this Ancient Foglet down into Pulling the Strings range. Unfortunately not a choice right now. Instead it's gonna be, ooh, doesn't find the Professor, instead the Salamandra choice is the Mutated Hounds. Probably a bit unlucky there. You definitely go for Collusion. The question is, what else do you go for? Second Mutant Makers. Makes sense since you should be able to get the Jacques in the round 3 anyways, has the same sort of tags. Okay, Ancient Foglet gets knocked down here regardless. But if the Ardgaith comes down next turn, ends up not really mattering if you end up pulling the strings on it later on. Also, this is a full front row, so pulling the strings even more so not looking hot. But it might not need to, because this is a huge point gap of 44 points right now. So you could play Ardgaith this turn into a 10 boost Navigator the next turn. Like... Ugh. You probably need to play like both of those and then go for like... Granthere here. No way. Navigator first? Okay, I can get Winter Queen out. That's probably worse than it not coming out because it gives a Pulling the String possibility over to Myamon. Yeah, that doesn't feel good. And yeah, and just to rub salt in the wound here as well, Sausage Maker having resilience. Yeah, I am not at all convinced by taking that Ardgaith after the Navigator. It just seems like a 4-point loss. Pulling the Strings was a little slower tempo though, only really played for sort of... I mean 8 points, but then I guess with Little Bird spend it's closer to 14. But yeah, I mean here you're just gonna have to commit Ace. Okay, second Navigator is enough, interesting. This means Lyria will still have the Currently Golden Child for round 3. Problem is, it's very vulnerable to frost. And poison. And there's not much you can do about that. Because you probably just have to play it early in the round, considering how short this round is. Considering the lack of frost that's going to be coming down. I assume you'd rather have Ardgaith than the Red Riders here. Ugh, misses both golds here. Very unfortunate draws for Lyria. Has to choose between Currently Golden Child and the Oberon. Problem is that no one couldn't have even killed the Golden Child here. Didn't find 2 poisons. Golden Child would have been 21 points. Instead you get this, what, like, significantly smaller Naglfar's crew. I mean, hey, at least the Frost is able to hit this Sausage Maker straight away. But it doesn't feel good that you already played a card and like you're barely catching up in points. in round 3 down a card now, after you've already played one.
All non-humans
Jack
must
coming out.
die.
A few more extra tags, not that that really matters at this point. Yeah. You have to go movement to set up the additional frost value. There's another aristocrat. I'm a bit worried that Myaman can just boost to high heavens and take dominance here. Like, all you need to do is just get your Jacques to 8 points. And, I mean, no more Oberon value, but decides not to do so, just plays out the BGF. And it's Odd Gate. Still the possibility of getting dominance, and I think it's especially scary once this professor goes through.
Don't trouble yourself with pleas for mercy.
Okay, Myaman doesn't even deny the dominance here. It was definitely possible to do so, but playing like this does enable you to maximize your horde value. Okay, I guess it wouldn't have mattered because we see the Golden Child last say regardless. Okay, so it ends up just being no Oberon here. But the spending
Take the whole finger.
will be enough here. There's 9 coins, you have efficient spenders on board, even an Intimidate proc, yeah. Okay, and actually, yeah, Golden Child was going to be more than the Oberon here regardless. But, I mean, that game probably goes different if the Oberon is found there rather than something else.
Yield and save me some time.
Okie dokie. Ooh. Art Gaith in hand for Myaman. Is he gonna keep it? Similar to the reasoning about Winter Queen, sometimes you want to keep Ardgaith in the round 1 because it allows you to play Gold Aristocrats early on in the game without pulling it out prematurely. And we do see it being held on to. King of Beggars is not, in this same vein, is generally not something you want to keep in the round 1. Especially because you typically don't have that many more tributes costs adding... typically the total cost of your tributes is not adding up to much more than 12 in these decks. So having King of Beggars in deck round 1 means you can't really play Shady Vendors for proper value, and it all just crumples down from there. So quite lucky that was the second mulligan, not the final one. King of Beggars back into the deck, we all breathe a sigh of relief. Mutant Makers coming down. Here's a bit of coinage, a couple of
A
tags,
superb specimen. True.
but yeah. It's round 1, and it's a low unit. It's unlikely to really get killed off. The only way is through poisons right now. Notably, other pikeman is missing from Myaman, and the Dane being played back row sort of signals that maybe pikeman is missing, because otherwise why would you not try to set up that flanking? Although, funnily enough, the Aristocrats is not the first deck to use poisons in this matchup. Instead, it is going to be the Pirate's Cove, poisoning the Thirsty Dame. Slipping a little something into that glass of wine. Diplo. Okay. Oh no, that's Rosa. Yeah, no, there's no Diplo in this deck. Interestingly, finds a Purify. So now, Leo either has to kill off the Rose and Edna, gives a chance for this Purify to get cooed, Or you just finish off the Purify this turn and then Rose and Edna gets to go through for free. You can just kill something. And you could one-turn poison with the Rose and Edna if you kill a Trafficker. I think it's easiest just to kill off the Dame here. Dame is pretty threatening right now, and you don't have a super clean way to kill off the Rose and Edna regardless. So she's gonna stick. And there is, yes, the Horse and Junior in this deck, but not available as of the moment. Okay, are we just gonna go for Joachim here? We do. That was a... Ooh. Ooh. Okay, a second try for the Joachim. There's the Blightmaker. There's still a Mage Assassin to pull. Only one though.
Defeat them with hunger, crush them with thirst.
Bit of luck, I'd say, to be able to find the Joachim when you could have found the Fergus, the Usurper, Admiral, Emir. Maybe would have been happy to play like the Emir as well. Definitely not lucky to find the Mage Assassin. That is by far the worst card you could have pulled there. Still though, Joachim with the Rose and Edna is a lot of tempo. Able to play two pretty tall boosted units. I mean, it sucks to get Mage Assassin. It's still a 10-point Mage Assassin. That's not too shabby. The other thing I wanted to point out is that the other good choice with the Salamander Lackey is it doubles up on the existing Salamander tag of the Mutant Makers, so not helping Lyria establish any additional Syndicate gains.
I shall flog them into submission.
And Ku comes out for Joachim number 3, gets the Van Wallen Hunter, going for bleeding, so threatening a kill onto that Mutant Makers. A bit surprised we don't see a lock coming down onto, as of current, the only spender on the board for Lyria. And, I mean, the other thing is you can just tactical to boost up this Mutant Makers to protect it, and I don't think you're particularly scared of offing it to 5 power. Like, what does it matter? What else are you using tactical on? Yeah, I don't know. So Tidecloak gang tag is the final one missing here for Lyria. That would be required to set up a 6 power pulling the strings. I guess maybe that's the other reason you don't go for the lock, because you know there's going to be a potential leader coming out here to get another spender, so you'll just go for the extra 2 points with the damage.
Look behind you. Oh, come on. Just one look.
So that's a pretty good Mage Assassin there for Yamon. Pulling off the Fist-Tech Trafficker means you kill off the Blind Eye tag. So that is now only 4 tags as of right now for Lyria. You can lead her to get a 5th, but not going to be able to steal this Rose and Edna. Maybe coming back to bite him. Not to do that previous turn. Could bleed the Rose and Edna to 5, but that'll take a bit longer to really set up. Maybe you just roll this Eventide Plunder. Is there a Blind Eye spender you can get from it? I don't know. Is that a shady vendor?
Could very well be the deal of a lifetime.
Front row for the Plunder. You can get Blind Eye in the Street Urchins. I think that's the natural choice here. Okay.
A grave error.
Oh no. Even the voice lines confirm it. Okay. Okay, so poison means the Sea Jackal's gonna die regardless. However, we have enough. We have all the gains now, so pulling the strings can be used with the 6 Cs. Yeah. The other thing for the voice line is that Lyria would have had to spend 1 more to get ahead. Gave me a pass to go into a long round. Doesn't decide to take it here. Notably, I mean, you'd imagine Lear was paying enough attention that when the Joachim, the Rosenedna, the Joachim, all these gold aristocrats came out, the Ardfiend didn't summon itself, so Lear knows there's at least one unplayable card in Myamon's hand. Now, all Lear needs to do is just keep up with these two trash bronzes to not lose uneven and even just secure the round win. Maybe get a bit of a bleed going in a shorter round too. This could be the most opportune time to just slam sausage makers, in all honesty. But also just play Nilfgaard to set something up for this round too. Although I'm not sure Nilfgaard would give enough coinage to get ahead here. Goes for a second shady vendor. Okay, neither of those options which would help establish carryover. As it rolls the pulling the strings, very nice. And just seizes a 4. Why not? It even gets a little bit of profit because the Tide Cloak being killed off means that there is only 5 tags on board right now. Pretty big Sicious aristocrats, and funnily enough, all the pulling the strings did give a few spying tags extra onto Lear's board, meaning 10-point seditious aristocrats coming down on that deploy. Now, is the problem. You need to get ahead by enough from the Eventide plunder here so that this Van Mollem Hunter is not enough for Myamon to get ahead. You really do not want to play your Jacques in this round 1. The Veil in particular is going to be pretty juicy in like a round 3 in this sort of matchup. Having a spend which can't be locked or poisoned, it's very, very nice. Tubby Huckster at 6 points. Not bad at all. Up by 3 here. We need to spend 2 to get ahead of the lock. I wouldn't be surprised to see a full spend, and that is the case. So Myamon either passes or plays Hunter and Leader to trade for Jacques. I don't think you're using Leader this early on. Okay. Never mind. Never mind. Okay. Maybe round control does matter. To save this Ardfiend for later on. Probably you could just go into long round, or long-ish round 3 a card up. I mean, but this does mean that Leo could establish Sausage Maker now in this round 2. A few golds missing here. I think you definitely need to take an extra mulligan here for, you know. King of Beggars coming back. Oh no. Finds the city. Okay, it is actually a bleed. It is actually a bleed.
The North shall tuck tail and beg for mercy.
Okay. I don't know what's in the water this game, but King of Beggars and Ardgaith both coming onto the board way too much. This is a semi-decent coup. Could even threaten a kill onto it. And again, if Lyra is paying attention, it would be clear that the Ardfane, either through mulligans or through the Emir, is bricked right now, since it did not summon. Because Emir, it's gold, it is an aristocrat. So Lyra, well, now no leader, it definitely is the case. You just need to stay ahead of whatever the rest of the hand is. So, should be able to get out of this round without spending both Jacques and Siggy. Issue is, like, this little bird doesn't have enough gangs to really get the good value. We do see the Jacques coming out here. Pulls out the King of Beggars, able to not quite get ahead. Need to spend once to get ahead. and does decide to get this resilience going. Even if the sausage maker dies, it's going to be able to get intimidate value in the next round. Quite nice in that regard.
Yes, that's the right shot.
Okay. This is little birds.
The king don't know what I know about him, that's for sure.
So there'll be full boost. Okay. So you're ahead right now. But like, no one can get ahead just by playing the Ardgaith and going bleeding here, and it trades out for Siggy. So maybe thinning out 2 bronzes here? Or actually, to be fair, Crown Splitter sticking around and the leader means that even Collusion can get pretty good value in a shorter round 3 still. I mean, just needs to get ahead here. Probably go Mutant Makers and Poison, I imagine. Basically, just you want to get coinage to spend on the little bird, boost up this sausage maker.
How's you doing business with you?
And yeah, so Meowmon has their own sausage maker here, which, like, sure. It has higher points now, but the tag is quite nice here for Meowmon if the collusion is found, which it is found. I don't know if you keep it here though still. Okay, you do keep it here. Okay, it's gonna probably be just immediate Novigrad, see what it can find. Yeah, this dame is a little bit sad. Just gonna get cleaned up by the horse, I imagine. Okay. We're on Parley. Next card to be drawn. I'm gonna prefer to over either this Fergus or this dame.
A taste of Nordling, is it?
But yeah, and look, Blightmaker and Pikeman is the top 2 cards here. Not getting the value on the Ardfane particularly much, I guess. Okay, anyway. Blightmaker is still an agent, so you get the spying, but
Well, we've not had enough.
it's means that you now still have the soldier this next turn. We see the horseman. Question is, do you click? And the answer is, yeah, we'll click. Gets a crown splitter or a cut-ups tag. Sausage Maker is crown splitter, so you might just go for Arena Ghoul here. And I believe there is coins to cancel the deployability of committing suicide. So the ghoul is going to stick around, and yeah, with the collusion, I think you want to maximize your tags like this. And yeah, we see that Meowmon doesn't have any way to remove tags. So, pretty big collusion ought to be enough to just win out here. And another pure human on top. This Ardfane, yeah. Really not feeling so great.
Another man's ripe patch for harvest.
Pretty big collusion. And it'll be a solid 10-point win here. Well, actually, a 7-point win. Because this Emir will boost off the Fergus spying. Okay, maybe another couple points. Oh no, it's just bleeding. Either way, somewhat comfortable win here for Lyria. Very strange way that worked out with the Ard Fiend being constantly in Miamon's hand. I don't think that was ideal. And look, no surprise what the players are taking. Neither has much choice in the matter here. It is blue coin for the aristocrats. So we will see if we get much red coin bullying coming down. Force mulligan onto the mage assassin for Miamon. Lyria does decide to get rid of the Winter Queen in this round 1. We could see her coming back out. Currently Golden Child is sitting there for now. Will it be kept or will it be saved for like a round 2, round 3 play? Navigator goes into the deck. Yeah, I can struggle to get this set up in the round 1 here. So we have Red Riders for Lyria. I feel like we've not seen many odd gates being found in round 1 for this Wild Hunt list today. Okay, there we go. It's the Lamp Gin. It's not just a sort of black portal into some alternate dimension. I mean, like maybe inside the gin's bottle. Here we go. This is the flanking of the pikeman. How do you deal with this? Natural lead could just be an aggressive leader into NL Aristocrat. It will do the trick. Or you can play a bunch of veiled units between the Conqueror, maybe the Ancient Foglet next. And you don't give a chance for much of this bleeding to go through.
Defeat them with hunger, crush them with thirst.
So now we have the Lightmaker coming through. Good point slam. Mage Assassin goes onto the other row though, and this could help Lyria get a bit of extra damage. If the Frost does decide to go on to both rows, instead just stacking at front row for now. Either doesn't want Winter Queen out just yet, or maybe wants to get a bit more of like Frost threat for this other pikeman, but instead of going for bleeding, each potential bleeding charge is just turning into armor right now. That's pretty sweet, because it can help protect against the frost. And yeah, I guess maybe the other thing is that the early click on the Lamp Gin meant that this Lord Riptide wasn't able to kill the pikeman, and now there's 3 different 4-power units. I don't think you'd really want to take your chances on that Lord Riptide either. Hey! Ternalia. Okay, this is again. We're playing with only veiled units right now for Lyria. This is kind of like uninteractiveness, but you're still playing units. So this Mage Infiltrator can get a bit of damage done. This Fangs the Empire can't get much poison done. Get out of here with that toxic mindset. We can see there's actually no lock in hand for Miamon. This NL Aristocrat would be pretty hard to deal with, I'd say. You could try to set up a kill with like some bleeding with the Mage Infiltrator, but it'll stick for a bit of time. Okay, we're just going for the Ternalia. Okay. Clicking it, getting the Red Riders. Clearly there's no previous round in this game, so this secondary effect isn't getting any value. Winter Queen coming out, a lot of Frost being played. Now the Ancient Foglet's looking a bit more juicy. And And now we can see a bit of bleeding onto the Winter Queen, onto the NL Aristocrat. Might be able to get a bit of Mage Infiltrator value. Now, I don't think it matters much what row Lirio decided to play onto here. I think it could have been a bit more heads up to play this NL Aristocrat on the other side of the Tonalier, just playing around Mage Infiltrator. Not a huge thing, but you know, when the plays are a little bit awkward like this, I think it could have been a bit of a nicer decision to take. Bit of poison bluff here for Miamon, unless you're going to go for Roderick into Admiral Ron Parley, which this would be a decent situation to go for something like that. You could lock the Winter Queen, poison the NL Aristocrat. You don't have much to give spying to, but that's neither here nor there, it's fine. So now we take the Riptide. Okay, kills a seditious aristocrat. Probably not what you were looking for, but it's alright. But yeah, the thing now is that this Ancient Foglet is losing value as we progress here. Yeah, it's losing 2 points each turn. I guess the other reason this is nice though is that, yeah, the movement, the fact that it still gains flanking armor now, that it has the range flanking ability active, doesn't really make much of a difference in the way this Pac-Man is going to react. It does mean that this extra frost will get value though on the front row, not just hitting the armor of the Pac-Man.
Do you honestly think you can catch me?
And, okay. So it doesn't really end up mattering with that positioning for the Mage Infiltrator. It's used solely to kill off the Winter Queen because Miaman is scared of the extra points it would have got from any unresolved frost. So with that in mind, quite a big lead here for decent pulls here. Is this just going to be girls into Ardgaith? Probably. Gives you an even nicer setup on this Foglet? No! It's Slave Trader time! Okay, this is such a nice Slave Trader. Look at that. 4 base power, up to 5 power boost for being played opposite Frost. Vitality putting up to 6. Gives the infusion onto the old Pikeman. Gonna lock it up, stop it gaining any bleeding. Also, unfortunate placement with the Mage Infiltrator. It does end up denying the flanking on the Pikeman. Though, yeah, with the Slave Trader now, I don't think that's going to end up making much of a difference. So, it's kind of funny because Frost lost on even in its previous outing, and now it looks like Yamon is about to lose on even. Plays Coup onto girls with no un-L cards in hand. There's the lock and reset on the Pikeman. Very nice Slave Trader. You love to see it. Like, this is just nice, right? Okay. And the pass from Miamon sort of saying, I don't know how you're going to catch up here. And it's a bit rough because, yeah, you can play Fergus. It doesn't quite do the trick. Pulls the Ard Fiend out. You see another round 1 leader from this imposter. And yeah, it'll get ahead. Sure, but... Now you're 2 cards down. Your Ard Fiend is out, which means that if you want to bleed, yeah, you're bleeding 2 cards down into a deck which can play mostly Veil, with like this Ancient Foglet to lead with. Or yeah, you go into long round sort of a card down, without last say. Okay, you see Miamon's happy with this hand. Are we just gonna see the Smork of Emir into Alba Pacman? We could. And yeah, long time to think about the hand here, but Lyra is quite happy with it. Okay, this is an immediate Ardfiend click. Knows that Admiral Pali is now on top. We do see the smoke coming through. Yaman has no chill, it seems. Does find the Admiral Pali with that guaranteed knowledge. A little bit of nice synergy between the Emir and the Ardfiend. And what is the response here? Ancient Foglet's pretty safe, right? You can just play it, chill. Like, sure, you're letting Yaman have a chance to set things up a bit more, but it does the trick. Or, okay, just move the pikeman, make it harder for it to get bleeding charges, and force something else to be played back row to protect it from the frost.
Don't ask a lady her age. It's unbecoming.
Dame is a pretty good pull here. Okay, now you get to decide, do I want a second Dame or would I rather have a Blightmaker? Looks like Blightmaker is the top deck. And yeah, it feels a little bit bad bleeding York, you're just going to kill anyways, but A, it gives you a bit of extra value onto your Dame. Can't complain too much. Dame likely going to fall to the Immort's Wrath here. I wouldn't be surprised if that's just the play that Lyrio takes. But the armor on the pikeman with the flanking does mean it will live at 1 power, which is a little bit unfortunate for Lyrio, but hey. What can you do? So it is Coup, brings out a Blightmaker. And yeah, we'll see where the Mage Assassin goes. There are units on both rows right now. I'm probably happy that the Mage Assassin didn't hit the Yokim, because that gives a target to actually get bleeding value onto. You can bleed at 1, set up an Emir still at 1 power. You see the Ardgaith here, the Frost tick means the Blightmaker is knocked down to 10 power. Dominance is gained for Lyrio, means that a Navigator can be used onto this Foglet next turn, which would give another non-veiled unit, but that's a lot of points just all locked up in that veiled unit, which Miamon just really isn't able to touch. Okay, what is Roderick pulling here? We have either Usurper or Rose and Edna. The extra bleed on the Joachim is a bit sad here, means Rose and Edna isn't much of an option. Okay. 2, 3, 4. Yeah, Navigator should just be enough by 1 here. Lyra will take the time to do the maths, but it ought to be enough. So yeah, with the Dominance, it'll play for 4, deal 4 boost, you get 4 frost damage. That's 12 points. You do take 1 bleed, but yeah. It'll be enough by 2. But that's card advantage here for Lyrio. Doesn't really need to spend that much to keep up. Okay, yeah, you commit the Immerth's Wrath, but trading Immerth's Wrath for the Emir and the Joachim, I think you're fairly happy with. Does mean this Rose and Edna will go through, basically guaranteed. Ooh, number 1 Riders in hand is not so pretty. You take the mulligan here, probably. This is a bruiser, and the other rider goes away from Nilfgaard's crew.
I saw, I conquered. Again.
Just the immediate riders, doesn't try to get the additional value of playing them opposite Frost, which makes sense, otherwise the proactivity is a little bit difficult to set up here. The fact that this is a slightly longer round 1, with the Frost play going first, means it's a bit easier to get the actual Ardgaith dealing damage here for Irio. And just to remind you guys, this is the match point in this series. Winner of this game gets through to the Open. Loser will have to try again in the loser's final. Roderick tutoring this Usurper. Wise to stay with the click. Doesn't give any additional value with Frost. Say the Ardgaith getting played. Not having operators on both rows is very nice here for Myeomon. Okay, Rose and Edna. Finds a nice 3-point unit. I imagine you'll just take that. Notably, the Oberon at phase 3 isn't a good copy, a good kill for the Rose and Edna, because there's no NL units in Myeomon's starting deck. See the movement and the Frost coming out here. Nicely done. So what is the Rosa doing here? I guess the best kill would be this Aerodin, because this Rosa is at 9 damage, even with the boost from being played opposite Frost, and from the Oberon, Aerodin deploys at 9 power. Alternatively, you could... I don't know, Roderick isn't pulling anything else. And this Admiral Rampali looking a little bit sad. I feel like you should just play him to set up the engine value. You don't even need to click him this turn, if you don't care about locking. Okay, does decide to just kill the Oberon, deny the engine value. Interesting. And clicks the Usurper as well. Yes, worried the Usurper would die somehow? I don't see how that would have occurred. And having the Operator still on the other side would have been nice, because Admiral Rampali would have boosted by 2. Okay. So, 2 cards left for Myeomon. The Usurper click means there's not as much chance to sort of make points come out of thin air now. You have a Poison which can combine with the Admiral Rampali for 1-turn poison. You also have this Van Wilhelm's Servant, which probably needs to be played after the Admiral Rampali. Yes, I think... what? Yeah, should you just double poison the Aerodin straight away? And then Van Wilhelm's Servant onto someone else? As the final card. I mean, you don't want to let this Aerodin live. If it lives another turn, you're taking extra frost damage, which is not only worse for you, but also helps build up the opposing Golden Child. Okay, yeah, you get ahead barely here. Admiral Rampali boosting by 1. I don't think it's going to be enough at all. Usurper getting finished off. Not that it makes too much of a difference here. Maybe the spying would have been copied over. No reason to really do so now that the Usurper is dead. And... oh. Golden Child is more than enough here. Aristocrats without the ball ends up being the Achilles heel for Myeomon in this best of 5. And with the final play of the Golden Child, Lyra might very well be the Golden Child heading into Open 3.